Over the years, cosmetic surgery has given countless people a boost of confidence and a fresh sense of self. But for a few, the pursuit of beauty took a controversial turn. One that involved changing not just their looks, but their very racial identity. In this video, we're diving into the lives of those who went down that path. Individuals who, through drastic and often painful procedures, tried to become someone they were not. What followed were not just physical transformations, but deep emotional scars, regret, and a haunting sense of loss. These stories aren't just shocking, they're a sobering reminder of how far some are willing to go for acceptance, and why embracing who we truly are is often the most powerful change of all. Martina Big, once a white German woman, ignited a firestorm of global controversy when she radically altered her appearance in an effort to become black. Through a series of extreme cosmetic procedures, including skin-darkening injections, breast augmentation, and plans for facial surgeries to mimic what she believed were African features, Martina didn't just change how she looked, she tried to change her race. The world watched in disbelief when she boldly declared she was no longer white and even attempted to legally redefine her racial identity. For many, especially older Americans who lived through the civil rights era, Martina's transformation wasn't just confusing. It was deeply offensive. Critics didn't hesitate to call it out as cultural appropriation and racial fetishism. Because black identity is not a costume. It's not something you can inject, reshape, or purchase. It's rooted in a shared history of struggle, resistance, and pride. Reducing it to a cosmetic fantasy feels, to many, like a slap in the face. But Martina remains unapologetic. She insists her transformation is an act of love, a tribute to African culture, and a form of personal empowerment. In one of her most controversial moves, she traveled to Kenya to receive a blessing from a local tribe, claiming the ritual officially made her a member of the black community. That moment, instead of bringing validation, drew fierce backlash. Many saw it not as a sincere cultural exchange, but a carefully staged publicity stunt. Martina continued to stir outrage when she expressed hope that her future children might inherit her surgically altered features, a statement many viewed as both scientifically absurd and culturally tone-deaf. Her story forces us to wrestle with uncomfortable questions. Where do we draw the line between self-expression and disrespect? Between admiration and appropriation? To a generation that fought for civil rights and equality, Martina's story is more than bizarre. It's a sobering reminder that not every transformation is liberating. Some, no matter how well-intentioned, cross a line that shouldn't be crossed. Vanilla Cham. What drives a person to erase every trace of their natural self just to become someone who never existed? For Japanese model Vanilla Cham, the answer was hauntingly simple. She wanted to become a living porcelain doll. But her story goes far beyond plastic surgery. It's a raw, unsettling reflection of pain, insecurity, and the heavy toll of chasing perfection in a world obsessed with fantasy. While many undergo subtle enhancements, Vanilla went further. Much further. Over the course of years, she endured more than 30 grueling procedures, reshaping her eyes to look more Western, sharpening her nose and chin with implants, and bleaching her skin in pursuit of a paler, doll-like tone. Altogether, she spent over $120,000 crafting a face that no longer resembled the one she was born with, but one she believed would finally make her feel beautiful. The media couldn't look away. Some called her transformation inspiring devotion. Others were horrified. Many said she no longer looked human, more like a walking, stylized cartoon from a fantasy world. For older generations, raised on values of natural beauty and authenticity, Vanilla's metamorphosis feels like a tragedy in slow motion. Because the ideal she worshipped, a flawless French porcelain doll, was never real to begin with. It was a manufactured dream, born from glossy magazines, animated fantasies, and impossible standards. In chasing that illusion, Vanilla didn't just lose her original appearance. She lost something deeper, her identity. Though she claimed her new look gave her confidence, behind the perfect makeup and wide, doll-like eyes was someone still desperate for self-worth, still chasing love and validation. Her story hits hard because it mirrors a painful truth. When beauty becomes a mask we can't take off, we risk forgetting who we really are. In an age where filters and fantasy dominate, Vanilla Cham's journey stands as a haunting cautionary tale, a reminder that real beauty isn't found in mirrors or magazines. It's found in self-acceptance. Raji narrating story is not just heartbreaking, it's a powerful cautionary tale about trust, identity, and the dangerous price of desperation. As a transgender woman yearning to align her outer self with her inner truth, Raji sought what so many in her position do: dignity, beauty, and belonging. But in a world where access to safe, affirming care is often limited, her journey took a devastating turn. Hoping to soften her features and feel more complete, Raji placed her faith in someone she believed could help, someone who claimed to be a medical professional. Instead, she became the victim of a horrifying scam. Cement, tire sealant, mineral oil. These were the substances illegally injected into her face by a fraud masquerading as Dr. O'Neill Ron Morris. The results were catastrophic: excruciating pain, life-altering disfigurement, and a body that bore the brutal consequences of betrayal. To older generations who have witnessed decades of medical advancements, Raji's story is a chilling reminder that progress means nothing without ethics. No one, no matter how vulnerable or marginalized, should be forced to choose between safety and survival. For many in the LGBTQ+ community, especially transgender individuals with limited resources, the path to self-acceptance is riddled with risks that others never have to face. But Raji didn't fade into silence. Instead, she stepped into the spotlight. She shared her truth through national interviews, documentaries, and heartfelt advocacy, not for pity, but for change. Her voice became a beacon, exposing the hidden dangers of underground cosmetic procedures and speaking up for those too afraid to tell their own stories. The physical scars remain, but so does her strength. Raji turned her pain into purpose, her disfigurement into defiance. And for anyone listening, especially older Americans who've learned the value of vigilance, her journey is a sobering reminder: real beauty begins with truth, and real safety starts with compassion. Pete Burns wasn't just the androgynous voice behind Dead or Alive's iconic hit, You Spin Me Round. He was a living, breathing rebellion. For baby boomers who remember the thrill of that spinning vinyl, Pete was unforgettable. Wild hair, fierce eyes, and a voice that could cut through a storm. But beyond the pop charts, he embarked on a decades-long transformation that would make him one of the most visually shocking, talked about, and misunderstood figures of his generation. It all began with one nose job. But for Pete, that first incision was the gateway drug. Over time, he would undergo nearly 300 cosmetic procedures: lips plumped, cheekbones carved, skin stretched and stitched, spending millions to sculpt an identity that matched the art within. He didn't see surgery as vanity. He saw it as evolution, as rebellion, as a way to blur the lines of gender, beauty, and everything society told him he couldn't be. But the cost was brutal. Behind the glamour and glitter were infections, excruciating pain, tissue breakdowns, and reconstructive surgeries just to undo past damage. Doctors warned him. Fans begged him to stop. But Pete kept going. To him, every scar was a brushstroke. Every alteration, a manifesto. His face became a living piece of art, defiant, ever-changing, and unapologetically his. Still, beneath the bold image was a man quietly battling the weight of his own creation. He stared into mirrors that no longer reflected who he once was, caught in the tension between identity and survival. When Pete Burns died of cardiac arrest in 2016 at the age of 57, the world lost more than a pop icon. It lost a fearless provocateur who turned his body into a battleground for self-expression. To some, his metamorphosis was a marvel. To others, a tragedy. But either way, Pete's life forces us to confront an unsettling question. How far would you go to become the truest version of yourself? Heidi Montag was once the golden girl of reality TV, catapulted to fame through Laguna Beach and The Hills. But behind the camera flashes and glossy magazine covers lies a story far more haunting than Hollywood ever let on. At just 23, Heidi made a decision that would forever alter her life. And not in the way she expected. In a single day, she underwent 10 cosmetic procedures. One of them lasted a staggering 16 hours. The surgeries touched nearly every part of her face and body. A brow lift so extreme it left staples in her head, a chin reduction, breast augmentation, liposuction, Botox, the list goes on. The aftermath was brutal. Not only was she physically wrecked and drugged with high doses of opioid painkillers, but emotionally, she spiraled into a darkness no one prepared her for. What was sold as a glamorous makeover became a waking nightmare. "I thought beauty would bring me happiness," she later revealed. "But instead I was left broken, inside and out." Now in hindsight, Heidi sees it for what it was, a decision driven by deep insecurity and the unforgiving scrutiny of fame. Her regret runs deep, and she doesn't sugarcoat it. Her story has become a sobering cautionary tale, especially for older Americans who've watched society's beauty standards shift from natural aging to airbrushed perfection. Today, Heidi is using her voice to speak out, not for attention, but to warn others. She urges young women to slow down, to question the impulse, and to talk to people they trust before making life-altering choices. She stresses that changing your body should never be a rushed reaction to pressure or pain. For the baby boomer generation, who've witnessed the rise of filters, fillers, and fame-driven facades, her story hits home. It reminds us that true transformation doesn't come from a scalpel, but from self-acceptance. And while the promise of perfection might be tempting, it's often the scars, visible and invisible, that tell the real story. Mickey Rourke, once dubbed the most handsome man in Hollywood, underwent one of the most heartbreaking and unforgettable transformations in entertainment history. In the 1980s, Rourke wasn't just a movie star, he was a magnetic force. With smoldering eyes and a brooding charm, he captivated audiences in 9.5 Weeks, Diner, and Angel Heart, earning a reputation as the next Brando. Fans believed he was destined for icon status. But what happened next would forever change both his face and his fate. In the early 90s, at the height of his fame, Rourke turned his back on Hollywood to chase an old passion: professional boxing. He was battling inner demons, fame, anger, a need for control, and the ring became his escape. But the sport proved brutal. He suffered repeated facial injuries, broken cheekbones, a shattered nose, and damaged teeth. And when it came time to repair the damage, Rourke made a fateful mistake. He trusted the wrong surgeon. What followed was a series of failed cosmetic surgeries. Nose reconstructions, cheek implants, facelifts, one operation after another. But instead of healing, the procedures only disfigured him. Swollen, scarred, and nearly unrecognizable, the once golden sex symbol became a haunting example of Hollywood gone wrong. The face that once defined an era was now the face of regret. His career took a nosedive. Leading man roles dried up. Offers shifted from romantic leads to broken, brooding loners. And though his powerful comeback in The Wrestler, 2008, won him critical acclaim and an Oscar nomination, the damage, both physical and professional, was already etched into his legacy. To a generation who watched him rise and fall, Mickey Rourke's story is more than just a Hollywood tragedy. It's a brutal reminder of how vanity, trauma, and misplaced trust can collide, with irreversible consequences. His journey stands as both a painful cautionary tale and a testament to resilience. Because behind the altered face remains a fighter, scarred, but still standing. Mary Sebastian Pickles Magdalene, yes, that's her full name, has become a polarizing figure in the world of extreme body modification. Her transformation is far from the glamorous Hollywood reinvention one might expect. Instead, it's surreal, unsettling, and at times, haunting. With hollowed eyes, exaggerated lips, and a tiny mouth that seems almost unnatural, Mary now resembles a porcelain doll unearthed from a forgotten attic. Her appearance is both mesmerizing and eerie, forcing onlookers to pause and wonder, how far is too far? Having undergone an astonishing array of cosmetic surgeries, everything from oversized breast implants to multiple lip injections, and even surgeries designed to sculpt her nose and eyes, Mary's transformation pushes the boundaries of beauty to an extreme. Her most controversial surgeries? Eye modifications that make her gaze wide and unblinking, eerily reminiscent of a doll's. These surgeries are not only incredibly rare but also dangerously risky, prompting alarm from medical professionals and viewers alike. Yet Mary presses on, consulting new surgeons and relentlessly seeking the next procedure, chasing a vision of beauty that only seems to slip further out of reach the more she transforms. For older generations who have witnessed the evolution of beauty standards over the years, Mary's journey might seem unfathomable, even tragic. While some younger followers admire her bold self-expression, others see her as a cautionary tale, warning of the dark side of perfectionism in a world dominated by social media. Each surgery distances her further from her original self, pulling her deeper into a hyper-stylized persona that blurs the line between human and doll. Mary claims that every alteration brings her closer to her true self. But this statement forces us to confront profound questions about identity, self-worth, and the relentless pursuit of unattainable standards. Her story serves as a stark reminder that behind the glossy photos and carefully curated online personas lies real, painful struggle, emotionally, physically, and deeply personal. Whether viewed as a champion of radical autonomy or a tragic figure consumed by obsession, Mary Sebastian Pickles Magdalene compels us to question what beauty really means and whether authenticity can truly survive in a world where transformation is constantly worshipped. Lil Kim didn't just break into hip-hop, she kicked down the door in stilettos and demanded the world take notice. The unapologetic queen of the 1990s rap scene, she fused raw lyrical fire with fierce fashion and unmatched confidence, becoming a living emblem of self-expression and feminine power. To many baby boomers who watched hip-hop shift from the streets to the mainstream, Lil Kim wasn't just another voice. She was a revolution. A woman who didn't just enter the game but owned it. But as the music climbed the charts, so did the questions about her changing appearance. Over time, Lil Kim's face and body transformed under the scrutiny of the spotlight. Nose jobs, breast implants, liposuction, skin lightening. Each change sparked whispers, headlines, and heated conversations. Was this rebellion or surrender? Art or armor? To some, she was boldly redefining beauty on her own terms. To others, her metamorphosis reflected deeper wounds inflicted by a society that tells Black women they must soften, shrink, and bleach themselves to be accepted. The controversy around her lightened skin ignited raw conversations about colorism, beauty standards, and the generational scars still healing. In one interview, Kim softly said, "You don't understand. You don't see." And in those few words, generations of pain echoed. For those who marched in the civil rights era and held Black pride close to their hearts, her transformation stirred something deeper. Was it empowerment? Or survival in a world that still judges worth by skin tone and bone structure? Yet through every transformation, Lil Kim never pretended. She owned it. She stood in her truth and dared the world to look closer. Her journey became more than aesthetic. It became a mirror, reflecting the harsh truths about race, gender, trauma, and resilience. She turned pain into power, silence into a spotlight. Lil Kim's story isn't just about beauty. It's about battling the world's expectations and still walking out in heels, head high. Whether you see her as controversial or courageous, one thing is undeniable: Kim didn't fade. She evolved. And she's still a force that demands to be seen, heard, and respected. Tara Reid was once Hollywood's golden girl, a radiant starlet whose infectious smile and effortless charm lit up blockbusters like American Pie and Van Wilder. In the late 90s, she embodied the fantasy, the all-American girl next door with a skyrocketing career and a face everyone recognized. But behind that glossy image was a young woman grappling with the crushing pressure to stay perfect in an industry obsessed with appearance. By the early 2000s, the relentless demand to maintain a flawless figure pushed Tara toward a decision that would haunt her for years. Hoping to slim her waistline, she turned to liposuction. But instead of sculpting the ideal shape she envisioned, the procedure went horribly wrong, leaving her with rippled, uneven skin that made headlines for all the wrong reasons. The physical toll was painful, but the emotional fallout was far worse. Once praised for her natural beauty, Tara found herself under the brutal glare of tabloid cameras, her confidence shattered. The media, once enamored with her every move, now mocked her body and tore down her image. Desperate to fix the damage, she underwent breast augmentation, but that too backfired, leaving her with results critics called disproportionate and unnatural. Hollywood turned cold. Big roles stopped coming. She was no longer the face of summer comedies, but a cautionary tale whispered about in gossip columns and late-night monologues. Her fall from grace was swift and merciless. For many who've watched the changing tides of beauty standards, especially baby boomers who remember the golden age of Hollywood, Tara's story cuts deep. It's not just about plastic surgery gone wrong. It's a painful reminder of how fame, when mixed with insecurity and public scrutiny, can break even the brightest spirits. Yet, through the darkness, Tara Reid endures. She continues to fight, to act, to show up, to reclaim her narrative. Her resilience reminds us of a hard-earned truth. Real beauty doesn't lie in symmetry, surgeries, or spotlight approval. It's in the strength to rise after falling, the courage to be seen without filters, and the grace to keep going even when the world is watching. Amanda Aloha. What happens when the quest for perfection comes dangerously close to becoming your undoing? Amanda Aloha, a striking Finnish model, has become one of the most controversial figures in the world of extreme cosmetic transformation. Her goal? To become a real-life Barbie doll? Flawless, exaggerated, and unapologetically artificial. With multiple breast augmentations, relentless facial fillers, and a seemingly endless list of surgical procedures, Amanda sculpted herself into a hyper-feminized vision of beauty that captivated millions and horrified just as many. But behind the glittering photos and viral fame lies a harrowing truth. During one of her many operations, Amanda suffered a violent reaction to anesthesia and nearly died on the operating table. For most, that would have been a wake-up call. But not for Amanda. That brush with death didn't scare her off. It fueled her. Instead of slowing down, she doubled down, chronicling every enhancement online with fierce pride, wearing her new face and body like armor. To some, Amanda is a bold icon of radical self-expression, a woman who refused to play by anyone else's rules. To others, she is the cautionary tale of a society spiraling into dangerous obsession with image and artificial perfection. Her transformation has sparked heated debates. Is she empowered or is she unraveling before our eyes? Is this self-love or self-erasure? For older generations who grew up with the natural grace of Audrey Hepburn and the soft glamour of classic beauty, Amanda's transformation is more than shocking, it's symbolic. It marks a cultural shift where beauty is no longer about harmony, but about pushing limits, even at the expense of health, identity, and emotional well-being. Amanda Aloha's story isn't just about vanity. It's a mirror reflecting our modern world, where validation is measured in likes, surgery is seen as self-care, and perfection is a moving target. Love her or loathe her, she forces us to ask the question, what are we really chasing when we chase perfection? And more importantly, how far are we willing to go to catch it? Self-destruction. Her journey caught the world's attention when she appeared on the reality show Botched, where even seasoned surgeons warned her she was treading dangerously close to irreversible harm. Still, Tara refused to slow down. She spoke openly about her desire for even more radical procedures, like removing ribs to further slim her waist. The warnings didn't faze her. If anything, they seemed to fuel her obsession. On social media, Tara showcases a world of glitter and glamour, filtered selfies, dramatic makeup, and a plastic-perfect aesthetic that has earned her a devoted fan base. To some, she's a symbol of fearless individuality, a woman boldly rewriting the rules of beauty. But to others, especially older generations who remember when natural elegance was the gold standard, Tara's evolution reflects something far more troubling: the toxic grip of unrealistic ideals shaped by social media and digital culture. Her transformation raises haunting questions. When does self-improvement become self-harm? Is this really empowerment? Or is it a silent scream for validation in a world obsessed with perfection? For baby boomers who've witnessed beauty standards shift from Hollywood glamour to Instagram extremes, Tara's story is a sobering reminder that the cost of perfection often goes far beyond the operating table. Ultimately, Tara Jane McConaughey's journey forces us to confront a harsh truth. In the age of filtered beauty and curated personas, The pressure to look flawless can consume not just the body, but the soul. And in a world chasing artificial ideals, maybe the boldest act of all is learning to love what's real. Lin May was once the shimmering jewel of Mexican entertainment, a goddess of the stage whose beauty lit up every screen she graced. In the 1970s and 1980s, her name was synonymous with glamour. She wasn't just admired, she was worshipped. A dancer, singer, and actress with a hypnotic presence, Lin May captivated an entire generation. But fame is a fragile flame, and as the years passed, the industry that once adored her began to turn its back. Terrified of fading into obscurity, Lin did what so many stars are pressured to do. She fought time with a surgeon's scalpel. What started as small enhancements became an obsession. Facelifts, cheek implants, endless tweaks, until one day, the woman the world once knew was no longer recognizable, not even to herself. Fans who had once applauded her grace now whispered behind her back. Tabloids mocked her transformation. The applause turned to pity. And yet, the deepest scars weren't on her face, they were inside. Lin has spoken candidly about the sorrow of losing not just her natural beauty, but the very identity that brought her fame. Behind the sequins and stardom was a woman wrestling with aging in an industry that worships youth and discards its icons the moment they show a wrinkle. Her story is a mirror held up to every generation that has ever feared growing older in a world obsessed with appearances. For those who grew up during the golden age of cinema, Lin's journey feels especially haunting. It's a cautionary tale about the razor-thin line between self-care and self-destruction, about how easy it is to confuse beauty with worth. But even through the backlash and heartbreak, Lin May stands tall, a survivor. Her voice, once silenced by shame, now speaks for millions. She reminds us that true beauty is not found in smooth skin or perfect features, but in resilience, honesty, and the grace to love yourself through every stage of life. Thank you for watching Exposed Hollywood. If this story moved you, be sure to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget, behind every famous face, there's a story worth telling. See you in the next one.